Hello and welcome to LifeWise with Charity Bradshaw. It is me, Charity, and as always, it is my passion to help you make the most of your time, talent, and treasure. So today we're going to talk about something called self-imposed limitations. And what these are things that you believe stand in the way between something that you want and where you are now. A lot of people use these, we can call them excuses or limitations, things like that, but these are things that you truly believe are the things that are in the way or stopping you from getting to your next step. So let's think about a few of these that I've used it myself, or I've heard before. Things like I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm too tall, or I'm too short, I'm too poor, I've never heard I'm too rich, but maybe I'm uneducated, I'm missing a piece of that education puzzle that could get me that next job or could put me in position for a promotion, things like that. We all have maybe even a physical handicap that we have let stay in the way, like I can't run fast, or I've got a bad back or a bad knee, and then so we use these as just ways of saying I'm not even going to push, I'm not going to try, because maybe nobody in my family has ever gone to college, maybe nobody in my family has ever got out of debt, these kinds of things. We've never seen it before. It's understandable, but let's not use them on our own lives. Let's try to push through and conquer. And I want to read to you today a story from my book, She Leads. And this is in the chapter 10, She is Determined. It's a little story time here. At the vital and active age of 12, Joni Eareckson Tada was at the Chesapeake Bay having a blast. Joni loved horseback riding, tennis, hiking, and swimming in the bay. It was definitely a highlight. In a moment, her life would change forever. She dove into shallow water and suffered a cervical spinal cord injury that left her quadriplegic. Now that's something a lot of us would say, all right, now you're relegated to a chair. That's going to be your life. Don't expect too much of yourself because now you're in a wheelchair. She spent the next 2 years in the hospital and rehabilitation center recovering and learning the skills necessary to live in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Joni was paralyzed from the shoulders down. This was not how life was supposed to go for an active, healthy girl who believed in God. She was sure that this accident wasn't punishment for some sin she had committed, but what was its purpose? She began to beg her friends to assist her in suicide. Her depression was severe. The thought of the rest of her life being spent sitting down in a wheelchair was too much for her to bear. She needed answers as to why God would let this happen to her, because she was deep in doubt about why she should go on living. She found a friend by the name of Steve who took the time to show her that there were other forces at work besides God. Steve reminded Joni of Jesus and the crucifixion. The purpose of the cross, from God's perspective, was to restore relationship with mankind. The devil had his own agenda, causing Judas to betray, the crowds to demand Jesus' death, and every lash of the whip against his back. Once Joni came to the realization that his purpose was to turn a headstrong, stubborn, rebellious kid into a young woman who would reflect something of patience, something of endurance, something of long-suffering, she began to see her wheelchair as a place of mobility and independence rather than immobility and isolation. Now listen to what Joni did. One of the parts of Joni's story that I really appreciate is that she admits that she didn't even know what to call her kind. What was the correct term for someone in her condition? The plight of a handicapped individual had never crossed her mind before the accident. How do they provide for themselves? She had to come up with a way to make ends meet. So she began painting with a paintbrush in her mouth and sold her work. Now that's creative. That's thinking, I'm going to overcome this obstacle because I need to live. I need to provide for myself. 9 years after the accident, with her thoughts straight and eyes focused on her future and hope, Joni wrote her autobiography. She began to share her story with others. She knew that she couldn't possibly be the only one struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts, much less doubting God. We've all had that time in our lives. We're like, where is God in all of this? She had a movie released about her story. She has created several foundations, including Joni and Friends, to help others live, have a better life in the wheelchair. I'm here today to tell you that what may seem like an obstacle is probably your launching pad into your next step, into your destiny. So don't view it as something that is keeping you from, but rather something that is setting you up for success. I would love for you to connect with me. Find me on Facebook, Charity Bradshaw, INC. You can go to my website, connect with me there, charitybradshaw.com. You can subscribe to my channel here, LifeWise with Charity Bradshaw. I hope to deposit more and more into your life, letting you know that success is yours to be had. You must get up and go for it. Remember, you and your purpose are an original. Have a great day.